Good morning, Miss Sudeepti. We are very happy to have you in our show called Rendezvous with Scientific Minds. So I welcome Miss Sudeepti B. She is a BTech in Electrical and Electronics Engineering, and she has done her MTech in similar field, that is electrical power engineering. Her professional experience comprises 4 years of teaching experience in the following institutes, that is PES Institute of Technology, Cambridge Institute of Technology, Bengaluru, Sri Daste Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. Her research was of 2 years span, I guess. Reliability of electrical power system, PV, wind data forecasting, energy audit of PES University. Oh my God. And then she has even worked in industries for 9 months. That's kind of amazing. What are the she has even gone for programming languages, that is C, MATLAB, and Simulink Python apps. Her achievements and accomplishments consist, oh my god, it's a long list, I should say. Wow. She has even her academic achievements are MTech batch topper for the year 2009 and 2011 at BIT Hyderabad, top 5% of batch throughout academics, distinct first rank in Andhra Pradesh State 6th rank in class 11 in 90 with 97%, and so much accolades to you. I mean, the list will go on and on if I kept reading. Welcome, Ms. Aditi, to our show. Since we are talking about topics which are related to science, we decided to talk on energy crisis because
Yes.
world will soon face energy crisis is the anticipation of many scientists. So, what are your views on that?
Well, thank you, Mahalakshmi, for doing this. Energy crisis is real.
Hmm.
And, if we are not being aware, I don't think we are going to pass a better planet to the next generation. Now, what is energy crisis is something which we need to discuss. It's not that we cannot use any power devices. It's not that we may not be having some innovation or development, but irregular usages, the practices which are not regularized,
Hmm.
all those things had led to energy crisis. And when we are talking about this problem, we are not confining ourselves only to a particular place or particular state. We have to talk on the whole.
Hmm.
We also have a landmass in which it stretches from Europe to Asia, and there is no water mass dividing that. So, can we do something interlinking grids within the continents? So, I'm here trying to talk about intercontinental grids,
Hmm.
and we can also link to other continents which are separated by water mass, and you have the underground HVDC system, which are high voltage DC transmission. So many things are possible. So we need to take care. We need to have those proper predictions about the demand, and as well as are we ready to face that demand. So two things are really necessary here, and there is no over projections here. Some people say energy crisis is just a made up myth, and
No.
it is not true.
Yeah, absolutely. Because for several activities, we require energy in current generation and the current in future also. If we keep the idea of thinking with keeping a line of ideas, whatever future gadgets which will turn up, it will require energy. Yes.
Definitely, definitely.
So, since we are talking this much about energy, so I would like you to shed some light with clean energy. What is clean energy?
Yes, this is very interesting. And what happens when we try to address a problem is
Hmm.
we try to create many problems, and that happens. And in
Yes.
the process of achieving a solution, we end up with some byproducts
Uh,
which are not which are inevitable with respect to the process, but unnecessary with respect to the requirement.
Oh.
We need to address that concept. From this concept, let's map the definition of clean energy.
Hmm.
We are not going to cut some trees to start a power plant.
Hmm.
We are not going to generate electricity
Hmm.
by releasing byproducts or waste from a thermal power plant. We are not consuming the water resources to produce electricity, given that that water should actually go to agricultural lands. We are going to harness energy from the renewable sources. The major being the solar and PV. We also have ocean thermal energy conversion, we have tidal energy, all those things are there. But when we talk about renewables, we are meaning of clean energy and the energy consumption. Here we are not just talking with respect to the supplier point of view, we are also talking about the consumer point of view.
Hmm.
There will be a time where consumer is not just the end of the chain.
Hmm.
He could be called prosumer. The thing is the combination of producer and consumer together.
Hmm.
So this amalgamation is going to happen. The thing is, you're going to consume the energy. When you go, you just charge your battery and you come back and you give that battery power to the grid. And of course, this needs a lot of regularization things, all these things. So when I meant clean energy, it has different facets. It's not just keeping the environment clean, but keeping the practices clean as well. So which is definitely one of the important sustainable development goals. Okay, and this is very important if we want to be a responsible global player. Being a part of globalization is different, but how responsible are we? So this is something we need to think of.
As we look around in today's times, we
Mm.
are totally dependent on technology.
Mm.
So, if we imagine a day without any gadgets or any electricity, what would
Mm.
it be like? Your
Mm.
viewpoint.
Hypothetical question,
Yeah.
yet scary. Scary because one day that could happen. So it's not completely hypothetical as well.
Yeah.
All of us right now are in cognitive offloading mode. None of us remember, I could say maybe 10 phone numbers.
Yeah.
And so when cognitive offloading has happened, and this, we cannot call this cognitive offloading. Gen Z, Zen Alpha says this is life. This is how you have phone to store your database.
Memories.
You
Yeah.
have Google Maps, Apple Maps. You have maps to remember a particular place.
Navigate through
So
places.
we really, in the process of enhancing the experience, we created a life for the next generation. Now, if we ask them to step back, I don't think that's a right thing to do. Now,
Yeah.
it is very important to understand what happens. It is a very important question to ask ourselves. What happens if there is no electricity? Okay.
The thought
Uh,
itself is
Now
very
let's
scary.
start from the basic thing, preparation of food. And again, preparation of the food, it's again both the ways, with the farmer point of view and also with the consumer point of view. Farmer can survive. Maybe they have to struggle a lot, but they are not like us because maybe they still have plan B's ready if the technology is not there. Okay, fine. Water is not there. They are going to use some techniques. They're going to pump the water manually to the field, and they're going to use a traditional bullock cart to take that end products to the market, to the vendor or something. Till that point, that's fine. Now, what happens after that? The complete transportation cost is on us again. So, if you don't have the energy or if you don't have electricity once you wake up in the morning, I think to purchase such kind of commodities itself will be a challenge. I'm not talking we can't survive without electricity, we can't see, we can't have the hot water systems. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking how difficult it will be to consume, and this is something. economic crisis. It leads to economic crisis. So if
Yeah.
there is no energy, the immediate point is not just how it affects the functioning of a human being, it affects first economy. And once country economy is affected and it start fragmenting, and I think I don't know what kind of disaster management
Yeah.
we need to have that. So I think consumption will be a problem,
Yeah.
not just procurement's consumption. Using is next stage. Okay, so we are so dependent, and that's a thing, and we always try to enhance our experience. So we try to address most of the problems, but the thing is, what if the solutions are not only the solutions? So we simultaneously we should work on alternate solutions as well. For
Okay.
example, if there is no electricity in the house, you have only electric cooker, induction stove. It's
Hmm.
better to have a gas stove as well.
Gas stuff.
Maybe you need to have some alternative heating. So there comes solar. There comes solar. Have a solar rice cooker, and and of course, for everything you need electricity again. It's not that once you use solar, once you use any alternate energy, you don't need. No, at the end of the day, you're going to have the same wiring in the house, which will be used by both renewable source, which is the inverter. For example, when we have a power cut, we immediately have the inverter. Now, what is differing here? You have the same wires in the house. You don't change, right? Just because you're using inverter. Now, similarly, in the place of inverter, can we have a power pool? Can we have an energy bank? We
Yeah.
need to think like that. Okay, and here, first of all, to encourage, government has to really, legalize. Unless and until there is a rainwater harvesting scheme, or some kind of renewable generation in a society, the government should not give permission for such kind of constructions.
Ah,
Uh,
how gas systems are getting installed in new
yes.
current building projects, like that. Similarly, they should also motivate this schemes of installing renewable energy resource ka power bank. That will
Yes.
be a gold move from the government. That will
Mm.
even have a sustainable growth, a sustainable development for future generations.
Exactly.
Okay, that was so much inputs in just a few minutes, I guess. Now there are further follow-up questions regarding this. Since we
Yes.
are talking about renewable resources, like still we are dependent somewhere on coals and petroleums for our energies. We are still importing it from Arab countries and Russia, and so many things we are
Mm.
doing right now. And even a war broke out between Russia and Ukraine. That
Great.
led to several crises right now, I
Yes.
guess.
Yes.
Economy is still going towards a regressive mode. It's
Yes.
going to
Yes.
regression completely because of all these things.
Mm.
So your viewpoint on what cost, if, for example, if we take energy we are trying to harness from different sources, right? Like
Mm.
as I mentioned, coal, nuclear energy, and all the countries which are superpowers right now, which have nuclear energy. What are your viewpoints on nuclear energy?
Most of the countries right now are they've decided to decommission. Even Germany, so they have decommissioned nuclear power plant. And before deciding, see, that's what happens. Whenever you're going to do something, you must have an alternate point of view. That's where research comes. Research point of view with respect to engineering, not every person should will be working on solution alone. Some people should work with respect to what's going to happen. So that is where academic research enters. Industrial research, yes, they speak about innovations, and they speak about integrating technology with innovations. Now academic research, this is what some gray hair inputs are required. I mean, gray hair as in, I mean, people who are visionary. I would like to replace the word, sorry. So it is visionary. So what happens down the lane 5 years if we decommission this? Now, Germany is a country where you have cooling systems also every day. The electricity is not just for the functioning like a tropical country like India. They need for heating systems and they need for cooling systems also. Now, in they call that the stick heating. Now, this thing is they are able to survive without any all these things. So they develop the power usually from the wind or solar. So they have the storage thing, and day to day. So I remember reading a research paper where they are able to utilize the complete power which is developed, in that zone. So
Oh,
they don't waste. Now all countries can't be like this.
yeah. They
For
plan
example,
out
if you
things
take
properly.
India, exactly. If you take India, you have five electric grids. Now, most of the applications in India, we don't want extra heating because we are a typical tropical country, and you must also understand. I mean, we must also understand how the resources are being split. You have water bodies towards the northwestern part, and you have a little bit of western grid. Yes, we have water here, and when you go to southern part, it is basically a hilly ghat plateau area. And if you see Tamil Nadu, I mean, in India, we have a nuclear plant in Tamil Nadu. Now, before even installing it, so there was some political aspects of that. So people were really scared. What happens if the fission reactions are not controlled?
Yeah, that is a major concern
That is the
actually.
major concern. But they are successfully running it, and they have a separate body which is Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited. So they are contributing significantly. Now, what happens? The example, what I said, it is at the end of the day purchase, the consumer. Now, how the cost is putting on the consumer. So you can't get the power from somewhere else. For example, if Nuclear Power Corporation of India, I mean the power which is being developed in that power plant, so if that is fed to the main grid, if that is given to the nearby receiving stations, then it is economically feasible. Otherwise, the transport cost, the analogy of the transmission losses, will again be paid by either the government, either
Or
the
the
public body.
consumer.
And when you sell this power in open market, you have the private players coming because they have money.
Yeah.
Okay, and
And
again, you
it is kind of
can't.
scary actually because privatization is like a pest right now in our country, to be very
Yes,
honest.
yes, and
Because if most of the sectors get privatized, eventually we will land up in economic inflation only at the end of the
yes.
day.
Now, in privatization with respect to energy sector, like what's happening is they are not giving complete control.
Yeah.
There is generation, there is transmission, there is distribution. And after distribution, there is a concept called demand side analysis. So what they do is when still they are not living that completely in the open market. So government is fine as long as you generate.
Hmm.
Okay, if you want, you can have a generating plant in our own house and you can give it to the grid. They don't have problem with that. The problem, government has issues when you are connecting that to the main grid, and what is your contribution to the transmission.
Oh.
So they are inviting private players only with respect to generation. And with respect to distribution. But the transmission is still under government control. You know what happens when the transmission is not under the control of government?
Hmm.
The current carrying capacity of the line. And again, here you talk about insulation, here you talk about dielectric strength, and here again, the inputs from nanotechnology, the inputs from, frankly speaking, physics and chemistry. So this is where you need to add your input. Now,
Hmm.
this has to be taken care. But when we talk about private players, when we talk about so we are government gives them freedom only with respect to generation and with respect to distribution. The thing is, if someone, for example, some company, say example Tata, so they want to have a power plant and they have promised the government, because at the end of the day, land should be given by the government.
Hmm.
One can't procure land by themselves, and that land must not be agricultural land, first of all.
Yes.
So when we have decent players, they play by rules. They don't, break the rules. When the this market is not regularized, and again the political aspects comes. Assuming everything went clean. So if a company says, okay, fine, we are going to start a generating plant within 5 years, and if they are not going to start generation of the power within 5 years, not transmitting to the grid, government is going to impose fine on them, because
Oh.
these people said, okay, fine, we are going to generate power, and by that time government has also planned the transmission by that time,
Uh,
and these people promised and they are not delivering
yeah.
their product, and they
Hmm.
have imposed fine. So the privatization with respect to energy sector, even if you see globally,
Uh,
the private players have a major role in generation, and maybe distribution part decisions.
hmm.
Decision. For example, there is a huge company. You have Facebook. You have all the IT things, and you might have known the concept of data centers. So from where they are going to get the power? At the end of the day, the valuation of the Facebook depends upon how much data they have,
Hmm.
and in the process of having a data, they must have their own storage. So if you are having a company like that and you are giving that to the consumer, they have to generate power by themselves. So
Hmm.
even we have Mark Zuckerberg. Whenever the anniversary of the company, now it's called Meta. So whenever that comes, the first or the second statement is always, we run our data centers through clean energy. So we are not creating any disturbance. So the thing is, there they are taking care of generation as well as transmission also. And the distribution is, of course, they need this just for their data centers. So
Regarding,
private,
since we
yeah,
are talking about energy so
yeah,
much, I have read somewhere that there is a conflict between us and China, right? So
mm,
they are trying a strategy for strangling our energy resources,
yes,
like building a necklace or something like that around the major trading zones of our world. So
yes,
our India is countering them with a necklace kind of strategy to
yes.
hoard their energy resource. So this energy has become something that is causing problem also between different countries. What are your viewpoint on that?
Yes, you want to exert your superiority. There are so many
Yeah,
ways.
yeah.
And when we talk about neighbors, we should
Mm.
also talk about Bangladesh. We should also talk about Pakistan. So Bangladesh,
Why I specifically mention China, because
yes,
they are planning the strategy to hoard our energy resources. That is the reason
yes,
I emphasize more on China rather than Bangladesh or Pakistan. And
yes,
these people are acting as a dormant partners for this China. So that is the point.
yes, yes. This is very interesting. Now, what they do is they are going to, and India is not selling energy to the international market.
Yeah.
So the point is, every country has its limitations and their strengths. Now, when we talk about China, due to its geographical location, and it shares borders, and it has a little bit of, of course, more coastal line, so they can harness all those things. Okay, when we see area also, let's stick to the basic demographics and the size of the country, the area, the population. So all those things also affects this. So mere foreign policy is not going to have this. Yes, they always try to attack with respect to military point of view, and they've already had a invasion on the economy. So we all have made in China thing. So that's where the foreign policy and the sustainable uh, energy growth, like Atmanirbhar Bharat, yes, the Make in India concept has come to fight this, but this is a bigger problem. So it will take some time, as long as we are not purchasing power from China. We are purchasing everything. So unless and until there is some huge crisis where we don't have a choice, because Bangladesh highest, they only purchase power from us. So we can talk about the neighboring countries, and uh, with respect to China, we are not going to that level, and the country already had its plan, though it is unable to meet its vision 2020 generating of 100 gigawatt of power through renewables. but still they have this HVDC links and all. So they are doing that. So with respect to that point, I don't think we have a problem, but we have major problems with respect to China beyond that.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Even in the current research article, I have gone through one thing, that is, they are trying to generate artificial sun for ever-ending renewable resources. What could be your viewpoint on that? Is it a plus move or minus move from their side?
Well, if they are going to generate solar irradiance artificially,
Hmm.
from a technology perspective, I would appreciate that.
Hmm.
Is that possible? Is something a question.
Yeah, that
Uh,
same question arose when
yes.
I read that.
Because how can be something, for solar irradiance, I think they're going to create the light source. See, at the end of the day, it's a photon.
Mm.
Even we can think solar energy, it's a photon and it just falls and, that happens.
Mm.
And again, if we have the maximum power point tracking, and it's gonna give the response of output. Okay, so to get to harness power from solar, we are not actually. I mean, though the climate is 35 degrees and the sun is behind the cloud, still you have the solar power generation. So it's all the light energy. Yes, if they could, I mean, we should appreciate from the research point of view. Yes, it's great. How about we also adapt the same technology? So that would be the thing. And
My
yes, it's very
concern here
interesting.
is
They should go through about this.
my concern here is like, won't it disrupt the natural stability of nature? Because if there is an artificial sun which is not under the control, for example, if it goes haywire, it could lead to problems for whole world, don't you think?
Yes, here we should understand. See, renewable energy. It's like I would give a simple analogy of Aladdin and Genie.
Yeah.
You ask something from Genie,
You get it.
and you're getting it as much as you want. At the end, you will have problems with the genie. Solar, renewable energy sources, if they are able to generate a simulated sun, they must be able to. They must have done research on how to store that energy, which is separate area of research, which is called energy storage system. It is not something, okay, fine, you cook so much of food today, you are not hungry, you don't eat it, what's going to happen, how many days you're going to put in fridge? So if they're going to generate such kind of things so that they can have the self sufficiency in their own country, that is good.
This might
As long as
even,
their using is good. If they are not using that, that's a problem to the people, not only China, whoever does this. So
yeah.
I don't think this could be a major threat. I mean, as of now, with the information available.
This might be a new approach towards energy harnessing, quest actually, to state it very clearly. Like when we couldn't even imagine to make a new sun, and they are on the step of trying that process out. But still, when we look into overall a scenario of these things, either two outcomes might turn up. Either one, it would be extremely successful, or two, it could extremely cause a major loss to whole world. That could
Yes,
be the thing.
yes,
And
yes,
I hope so it goes well, because we can
yes,
even
yes,
replicate that method. Good things we should
yes.
always try to grasp from people, don't you think?
Yes, yes. So I think as engineers, as technology person,
Yeah.
we must first appreciate that. And of course, we must also see with respect to, national safety and security point of view,
Yeah.
the thing should happen parallel. If someone is doing something great, okay, let's not get scared. Let's think what are they doing? Can we
Let's
replicate that or
replicate
can
it.
we build something better than that?
They have
Yes.
the same attitude actually. That is the
Yes,
reason
yes.
there is no intellectual property rights in their country as in such.
Yes, yes, yes. No matter what you do, everything is
Yeah, they
under
will
government
replicate.
thing. Yes, yes. Our country is not like that. It's not like that in
Yeah.
that way. Yeah, we have the patent system, and the
So,
academicians come into picture here. Even their
yeah.
academic research is well appreciated. If that is very good, it has to be on the top level. A
Yeah.
mediocrity is unfortunately not entertained.
Yeah. That's a actually good thing, because only the survival fittest will survive. according to
Yes.
Darwin. I'll just
Yes, yes,
drag
yes.
in some of the biology here.
Yes, yes. And survival of the
Oh
fittest.
boy.
Yes, yes. No matter you do natural
Yeah.
breeding, selective breeding, that is valid.
Yeah. Next question to you is okay. Most of the societal responsibilities are inculcated in and around middle school level. What kind of curriculum could be introduced the concept of clean energy and fighting energy crisis? In terms of teaching field, you can answer this question.
Yes. So what happens? We try to tell all sorts of problems to students, especially when I'm in middle school. Yes, so somewhere around sixth grade, they start thinking about so many things. And in the schools, they have a policy of discussing the sustainable development goals. I think there are 21 goals. So they want to inculcate each and everything. They start from hunger, how to fight hunger, and clean energy is goal number 4. So definitely, this is a problem which can be understood. Now we need to tell them what I mean. We can ask some kind of questions to them. So, what are the lighting sources in your house? What are the lighting loads you use? Are you still using LED TV? I mean, you have the gadgets. So, what is the star rating of your fridge, refrigerator? Is it 2 star, 3 star? Why we are not going for 5 star? How long you use AC? Are you switching off the light once you are done with the washroom? You know, and how long you use this heating thing? So, and what is the thing? How about you don't use water geyser in the bathroom? How about you heat your water on the stove and check the bill? So, and all this happens, and we should also ask them to understand the same experiment in different places. Then we can tell what is privatization. First, we need to introduce the privatization here. The same kind of practices you do in a place like Mumbai, and you go to other place where the electricity boards are not privatized. For example, in Mumbai we have three: we have Tata, we have Adani, and we have again government of Maharashtra as well. But the thing is, same kind of load with a different kind of billing. Now we need to tell any problem with respect to the two things. One is how it is affecting us economically and how are we affecting the environment. So if we could connect these 2 points, they'll first understand the problem. At the end of the day, one should understand that there is a problem. If there is a problem, then they can think from their point of view, how can we solve? So just switch off the light, switch off the fans. Okay, so that is enough. And this all comes while they are celebrating Earth Day, Environment Day. This is a good place where some industry experts, industry consultants come into the picture and talk to the students. So it is not, and this is with respect to the curriculum. I'm talking about the inside and out. And again, here comes the parents. And nowadays, curriculum is not just a teacher's point of view, it is about parents. What are they telling? And if you yourself are doing the wrong thing, for example, you have a function in your house, you take direct power from the transmission line, that is power theft. So you do such things and you don't expect the
Yeah.
next generation to be so,
Yeah. We
they
have
just follow
to.
you. Kids don't listen. First,
Yeah.
they just learn from the practices. Uh, uh, Before preaching, one should
Yeah.
practice.
You just took words out of my mouth, actually.
Yes, and you do all such things. Then how can they understand that there is a problem?
Yeah. Okay, the last
Yes.
question for the day. It
Yes.
was such a wonderful discussion with you. I would
Yes.
like to ask, what are your what solutions as such you have in your mind to solve the energy crisis as such? You might have thought given a thought about this since you are from this
Yes.
background.
Yes, I am basically from my research initially was when I was doing my literature survey, when I was also framing the problem, the formulation. I had concentrated mostly on the distribution system reliability. The thing is, we are speaking about okay, we should start a generating station. Now, the thing is, how many days they can give. So are they going to generate every day? Then there comes this metrics called load factor and all, and are they, and the plant capacity factor. Now you promise, you take, you give for 2 days, you give for 2 months. What's going to happen the next day if something contingency, when the plant itself doesn't have contingency plan, what is happening?
Mm,
So my research is on that point of view. Eventually, it evolved with the field of analytics.
mm,
And when we are trying to solve a problem, we can actually have the existing tools to adapt so that we can attack the problem in a better way.
mm,
Now, the very important thing is, what is the load down the lane 10 years?
mm.
And that is directly dependent to population, right?
Yeah.
And again, immigration. Now you see, in our country, 20 years back, what could be the population of Mumbai? And Mumbai has a floating population.
Mm,
Okay, the irony of solving energy crisis problem is not just creating new ideas or new thoughts with respect to energy sector alone. It is basically, it is positively correlated with the economic sector. Now, why people are coming to Mumbai alone, and why we have such a densely populated, because Maharashtra is a very big state, and you have other places also. Now what's happening over there, all the opportunities are here. Now that is why, if you could divide the opportunities, the job opportunities, I meant, you can start schools, you can start colleges, you can actually start the power split should happen. The
mm,
decentralization power, the decentralization of the economy, and so eventually decentralization of energy. This I'm talking with respect to load forecasting thing.
mm,
This you can take help of course, the analytics field, emerging field. You can use so many techniques to find out what could be the population down the lane 10 years. And number two, what are causing the which is spoiling the environment.
mm.
So, and we talk about electric vehicles, that is fine.
EVs,
Where
yeah.
are you putting the charging stations?
Yeah.
Okay, and what happens? Something happens to charging station, you still relay and you run to gas stations. You still
Yeah.
happen to petrol and all. Now,
But
while introducing while putting the alternate solution, what we must do is, what is going to happen to the person who is running the petrol bunk from the past 15 years? So provide something to them also. Okay, so a problem solving is again going to create problem. So it is not
yeah.
going to happen with one person. So it has to happen in integration thing. So then we can actually solve problems. So the next thing is work on renewables. Work on renewables, and government must really encourage this. The thing is, right now in India, down the line 10 years, maybe, not now, at least down the line 10 years, we are going to have the thing. Hope you remember the conventional STD ISD calls. I
Yeah.
think you are a young girl.
Yes.
Yes, yes. The
No,
thing
I'm a
is, if
millennial.
we,
I know that.
yeah, okay. If I'm talking about Gen Y and Gen X, so we are supposed to call only after 9 o'clock.
Ah.
Okay, so the similar kind of billing thing is going to happen here also. If you are gone, if you are going to heat, or if you are going to charge your car battery after 9, these are the units of electricity will be having this kind of bill. If you are going to charge your car before 9 o'clock or midday peak, where everybody are using the energy, then you will be charged very high. So this kind of tariff system is going to come. So when you inculcate certain kind of discipline with respect to energy, this is fine. This I am talking with respect to consumer point of view. Now coming to engineering research point of view, especially the academic research and industrial research, it has to go hand in hand. There are a lot of innovations. You must talk about, okay, you want to reduce the transmission loss. Okay, that is the problem. Now to find the solution, you must have an integrated research. So that's why most of the universities, they have physics people actually guiding some electrical engineering student. That happened with one of my ex colleagues. So she did right now she's postdoc in Oxford. Now her guide is actually a physics person. Now her project is like to evaluate what happens when photovoltaic, that is solar, penetrates completely into the Europe, and she just conducted a case study. So such type of things are encouraged. You
Mm.
must also encourage different types of resources,
Right.
and these are highly stochastic. I mean, they are constantly changing.
Mm.
Solar and wind. So that estimation also you should take. So what will be solar irradiance down the line 2 years? Now that is also related to the global warming problem. The temperature is rising simultaneously,
Yes.
and the thing is, if the temperature is above 40 degrees centigrade, solar actually loses its the break even thing. So
Mm.
the temperature has to be, I mean, surprisingly, like bacteria, it has to be at a certain,
Regulated.
maintained at the certain level.
Yeah.
So when you are
Regulated.
planning, exactly, regulated. So when you are planning a large scale system, again the it's the planning it has to solve. So this is what happening. And yes, as a researcher, my opinions could be a little bit stringent to others, but yes, it is discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline should be there. Yes.
Oh my God, oh my God. Such a vast flow of knowledge to and fro. I'm amazed. I'm so
Oh,
happy. I hope you also enjoyed our conversation, Miss Deepti.
yeah, sure. I mean, it's
Uh,
been a good intellectual stimulation, and when you really talk about your undergrad and postgrad disciplines, the student in me actually pops up than the teacher. So I always consider myself a student, and the main thing
same.
is all teachers should update themselves
Yeah.
constantly. Then only they can tell about the problems which are relevant today. You can't go to student and tell, how to handle your phone. Kids know better than us.
Knowledge
Okay,
is
so
also dynamic and it
yeah,
keeps on
exactly.
changing.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Which is
and this
that's the most
conversation
dynamic thing, and I've seen till now. So
and
it's not the money; it's always what the knowledge you develop
knowledge
over
you
a period.
develop it.
Yes,
This
yes.
was very much a flow of knowledge, as I said earlier, in short span of time. Thank you so much, Miss Sudipti, for sharing such knowledge and sharing your time with us. I hope thousands of minds lit with this kind of knowledge which we talk about in our show called Rendezvous with Scientific Minds. You are the perfect candidate for our section from physics, actually. So I
The
am
physics,
really
yes,
amazed.
I would identify myself right now as a educator who would like
Educator.
to think about energy. So, with
Yeah.
respect to physics, I think I'm not that technical person. Yes, I'm basically engineer, so I always see problems. Some people call us problem solvers, but
Yeah.
some people call us problem seekers. Some people call us problem creators,
But
and actually we are three.
ultimately, down the line, if we go, education could be the panacea for the several problems, actually.
Yes, that is
So,
true.
I would like to thank you again and giving us time. So, well, thank you very much, Miss Sudeepti. And this is your host, Miss Pillai. Signing off. Take care.